Hi, good afternoon, Hope Hub. I hope you guys are having a terrific day. Welcome back to the Hope Hub. I was MIA yesterday on Mindset Monday, but yes, the struggle is real. As you know, I was gone. I was on vacation, and while on one vacation, I was here consistently Monday through Friday. But y'all don't even know the struggle is real when you get back to reality. But I'm back, and I am happy to be back, unlike some people who really have a hard time getting back from vacation, because vacation, you're relaxing, you're eating mindlessly, you're sitting by the pool, you're enjoying yourself, you have no schedule, you got no emails and all of that. But at the end of the day, my kids were ready to come back home. I don't know about y'all. Sometimes if you're gone too long, you start missing home. And I think that's what I wanted to talk about today, is just the importance of home. The crazy thing is the AC in my office is a hot mess. It is so cold in here. Like, basically, you come to the office and you're freezing, like physically freezing, to the point where you need a heater in the office, which I don't have. And yesterday I had to go pick up my clothing from the dry cleaner, right? I always forget the word, dry cleaner. And I got to the dry cleaners and I had a sweater on, like a sweater with all the buttons on. And so he looked at me because they were sweating in there. And so he's like, "You're wearing a sweater? It's 90 degrees. And I said, "Look, I've been in an office. I've been freezing. I had to actually sit in the car for a while to kind of get my body, my blood flow going, and for me to actually warm up, because that's how cold the office bees." So anyway, I'm here back in the office. All is well. And so I wanted to talk about the importance of home, because no matter where you are, home is best. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, if y'all remember, I was reading this book, Unstoppable, by Cynthia Kersey. Of course, when I put it on the screen, it's the other way around. But this is a book that was written in 1996, Unstoppable. And it's just profoundly inspiring stories about how you can soar to your possibilities. And one of the stories that I really liked here, and I have to share because I have to return this book. I've had it for like a month, and I kept asking them, you know how you, what's the word? You renew books. Well, this is the second time I've renewed it. So I think they want their book back. I'm pretty sure they want their book back. But anyway, so I'm returning this book. I have to get back to the swing of things. And one of the stories here is it's talking about homes are where their hearts are. Homes are where their hearts are. And it's a story of Habitat for Humanity. So I don't know if you guys know about Habitat for Humanity and the story of Millard Fuller. I found out today, he passed away, I believe, in 1996. I may be wrong, but he was the founder of Habitat for Humanity. The reason I'm talking about this is because I have home on my mind. And this idea that we have a huge connection to home. I'm not sure about you, but first of all, I'm an immigrant to this country. So yes, this is my home, but at the same time, I identify with my hometown, which is Nairobi. I identify with my home, which is my parents' home, where I grew up. That is still home. I identify with home teams, for example, like with teams around here, the Philadelphia Eagles, etc. Those are your home teams. And then, of course, I describe or identify with that level of comfort that is my home. And then, of course, my national identity, which is my homeland. So all of these things surround this idea of home. And at the end of a vacation, your next favorite destination, or the words that people say the most, are there's no place like home. And it truly is. And I know I talk on tangents and randomly, but I remember one of the songs that we sang in high school when I was in choir was "If Home is Truly Where the Heart Is." It goes, "If home is truly where the heart is." Anyway, it was a beautiful song, but anyway, just forget I tried to sing. So back to this idea of home, and how last week I was talking a lot about the homeless people that I kept seeing on the Virginia boardwalk. And how I couldn't understand how there were so many, hi Binti Mwenyewe, I couldn't understand why there were so many people laying on benches and without a home. And I was like, man, a home is a basic human need. And when, especially in a country like this where there's so many, it's such a wealthy country, you can't understand how you can have poor people on benches sleeping, like right in a resort area where people who are in those resorts, in those hotels, are practically they've paid all their rent, all their bills, all their mortgages. And so this is really the money that you put aside for luxury and for vacation and relaxation. So it's not really a need, a basic need. It's actually a want. In terms of a vacation, it's, we understand the importance of vacation, but on the other side, when you look at the homeless, you're like, man, if only we could take some of that money and help the poor, right? So anyway, the story in this book, Unstoppable, is about, his name is Millard Fuller. I believe the last name is Fuller. And he's the guy who developed or started Habitat for Humanity. And I did not know his story, but his story is essentially that he was a man of great wealth and assets. He had accumulated a lot of wealth. I don't know, selling tractors. He had a direct mill company. He was selling, I think it was tractor cushions or something like that. But either way, he had made millions of money. He had made millions of dollars. And it says here he had a luxurious home. He had a cabin on a lake, so a second home. He had 2,000 acres of land. He had speedboats and luxury cars. But he also had chest pains because his not the chest pains that you get like physically, but the chest pains of having a home where he doesn't want to be because there's so much strife in the house, right? And so he had a wife who was getting sick and tired of him not coming home on time. He was having issues. What does Cali mean? Star, star, star. Are you from California, Binti Mwenyewe? So yeah, so his empire was rising, but then at the same time at home, when he went home, his wife was really, really upset with him, and she was like, why are you never home? Why are you never home? And then in another article that I read, essentially his wife started having an affair, and then she was just like, look, I'm done. I'm leaving you, along with their children. And he understood the reason why she was leaving, because like seriously, all his main goal with his partner when they left law school was just to make money. They were like, we're going to be rich. And that's what they focused on. They worked 12 to 16 hours a day, whatever they needed to do in order to accumulate all that wealth. Meanwhile, even though his wife had all this luxury and this huge homes and all this, she wasn't happy. She wasn't satisfied because he wasn't there, and that wasn't what they had planned on, right? So the heart attack, they say, hit unexpectedly one day at the office. And it's not the kind of attack that is clots and arteries. It's the kind where you get so much grief and regret suddenly flood your life when everything, metaphorically, everything that is around you falls apart because his wife just decided she was going to walk away. And so he no longer had a family. But either way, at the end of the day, apparently he decided, after being very lonely and agonizing over his life, he decided to reach out to his wife. And this is where, a lot of people, especially she's the one who was having an affair. I'm sure some people are like, I can't believe he reached out to her to see if he could work it out. But he actually reached out to her because he knew the responsibility that he had played in that demise of the family home. And so he called his wife, Linda, and he begged for her forgiveness and asked her, can we speak about this and try to mend our relationship and try to rebuild our lives based on commitment. So the story goes that after they sat down and they decided to recommit, they decided they were going to recommit to their marriage first before anything else, and recommit to it in a godly manner. And so with that, they decided, and this is the crazy part, especially for people who've never been wealthy, he decided he was going to sell his business and all his material possessions and get rid of all the things that they had allowed to come between the two of them and to break down the family. That's amazing. They sold their houses, their boats. They donated the proceeds to churches, to colleges and charities. And everybody thought they had completely gone crazy. And then while in the midst of it, they decided to look for projects and charities and community service where they could serve and spend time together. And so they started serving in Atlanta, in an area where there was shanties and places where houses were leaking. They lacked heat, they lacked plumbing, where there was like homes to all these impoverished families. And this was in the U.S. And so this was more of a, I guess, like a Christian missionary thing. And so they decided with this Christian mission, they were building homes for needy families, and I'm sorry, I have to reference this, and with other people and other co-workers, and then they were building all these homes for 4.5 years. And so, to cut a long story short, they decided to try this one thing, and this thing was to start partnership building projects, whereby, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Habitat for Humanity, but it's basically, their model is a non-for-profit model. They fundraise money to build homes for low-income individuals. You have to qualify to be allowed to have a Habitat home. But not only do they fundraise so that they can have these no-profit homes or mortgages, actually, they also ask the people who are going to be recipients of this home to put in the work, which is the sweat equity needed in order to build these homes. And then in addition, they ask people like you and me, in your spare time, to also volunteer to come and be trained in terms of how to be a contractor and how to nail something down and how to paint. So it's people who come from all over the nation. Some people will take vacations and do this. Some people will do it as a student project. So it's always awesome to see these Habitat builds, but it's basically no profit. It's called sweat equity. Basically, you as an owner, future owner, have to put in your sweat into the project. And that's how they decided to come up with this idea for Habitat for Humanity, or the Fund for Humanity. So I'm saying all this to really talk about how, he, as a disruption in terms of what happened, and I don't know that he went looking for home building projects or whatever, but at the end of the day, he decided to pursue a greater cause, a community service cause, something that would give more meaning and purpose around his marriage, his relationship, as well as his own life, and using the same entrepreneurship skills that he had garnered in his business life, he used that to parlay it into that nonprofit that is now Habitat for Humanity. So just some statistics. I believe he passed on at the age of 74. I'm not sure what year, 2009. It looks at I think it's 2009 when he passed on. But at the time of this writing of this book, Habitat for Humanity had provided 300,000 people with safe, decent, affordable shelter. His goal when he started the organization was, instead of having a goal of making $10 million, because that was his goal at the time when he started business in 1976, he ended up saying his goal is to actually shelter 10 million people. So I'm not sure exactly where Habitat is in terms of their work, in terms of, whether this was a realistic goal or not. But all I know is that currently, they have 1,400 Habitat for Humanity organizations, internationally, and it's internationally within 70 countries. So you can imagine the scope of that whole project. And he received from Bill Clinton the highest civilian medal that as a civilian that you can get from the nation from the United States, the highest honor as a civilian. It's a medal that you're given. And basically, Bill Clinton said that his impact is, I think they said he's the largest continuing community service endeavor that's ever happened in the United States. So anyway, that story is called Homes Are Where the Heart Is. And I thought about that story, even though I started reading this book a few weeks ago. When I came back home, and my kids were so excited to come back home, and I was like, man, even after being in this beautiful resort and being so excited about being away from home and this stress and all that, they were all excited to come back home. And so that's the importance of home. And I wanted to just say, sorry, I'm having to reference my notes. That our connections to home are basic threads in our lives. And so it's so important for all of us to create a space that you want to be and are happy to return to, not just for yourself, but the people who are living in that environment. And it doesn't have to be a mansion. It doesn't have to be this big, gigantic, brand new house in order for you to feel at home. You could shop. I've seen people whose homes are full of knickknacks from their life experiences. You can't even find space in their house, but that home feels like home. It represents who they are, their experiences, and they feel at home there. At the same time, this is something I was thinking about when I was thinking of this idea of home, is also that when I first met my husband, and this is a question that my sister asked me. She's been wanting to get married for a while, and so whenever she meets someone, she asks them, how did you know that this was the person for you? How did you know that this was a person that you should marry? And I told her, I've never really thought about it, but when I met him, he felt like home. Do you know that feeling of home? It's just that feeling like you've known someone and that person is part of you and you're just comfortable with them, like from the get. It's almost like you know them. And so that's what home represents to me. It's that person who understands you, that person who you can talk to about your dreams, your hopes, your aspirations, your future. You can set up a foundation with them because you feel safe. And they're just your home. So I don't know where that came from. But anyway, I'm back. That's my lifeline. Create a space, an environment in your actual home that feels good, that feels comfortable. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be what you deem as home. Lastly, whatever it is that you're working on, be consistent. This is something that I really struggle with, I guess, because I'm always I'm busy, but at the same time I feel that this is something that I'm supposed to do and be. And this morning I listened to my bestie Kelly, and she was like saying, she convicted me because she said, if God comes back today and God is looking for you, will he find you where he told you to be? So I don't know whose message that is, but if you are called to do something, you're on assignment to do something, you feel that this is something that God has asked you to do, or this is something that you have a responsibility for, or something you're gifted and talented in that God has given you innately in you, and you're supposed to be doing something with that talent or that gift, will he find you using that gift? Will he find that you're using your potential? Will he find you positioned where you're supposed to be? And so when she said that this morning, I was like, oh, I didn't do my Hope Lifeline video. I'm not in position. He's going to find me not ready. I can't have that. So anyway, today, This is my Hope Lifeline. Hopefully I can be more consistent as I have stated in the past. I beg your forgiveness for those of you who expect me to be here. I'm going to try and be here, as I said, Monday through Friday. And when you see me missing in action, convict me. Just write me something and say, hey, where's your video for today? I was looking for my morning hope and you didn't show up. So y'all, it's evening hope for you today. God bless you. I hope you're enjoying the summer. And I'll see you all tomorrow. I guess it's better done than not, right? So if I come here not perfect, not ready, it is what it is. I gave my Hope Lifeline video and I gave some hope to someone. All right. So take care. Thank you for joining me. God bless you. And I'll see you tomorrow in the AM. Bye.